All right, here we go. After Party 57. We're going to sort of talk about all the stuff we sort of did after we split. Basically, episodes 191 through 195-ish. Titles, 191, Liabilities. 192, The Hub. 193, Connected. 194, whatever you want to call that, Clockology, Part 1. And 195, the old STD.
No, 190. That was for Emily. 195 is Clockology Part 2.
Oh, well, that became 195. Clockology Part 2. That does make a lot more sense, Lee. Part 1 and Part 2. I appreciate that.
That's why they call them K. You know how STDs all get like...
You're right, exactly.
Right? Like the clap. This is the K. Special K, right? Special K is something.
It's a drug, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like
Are you still beeping out bad words if I say bad words on the after party?
After party, no.
Never beeped.
Oh, okay.
I think that ship sailed a long time ago.
So we don't title after parties, but I would like to title this one, What the Fuck, Mia?
I was expecting that to be Falzern's name and not mine.
Same.
Okay, well, hold on. So, clearly, listener, John and Emily were given the go-ahead by Bill and Elena to listen to their episodes after we've had this kind of semi-conclusion so far to the Neogi thing. So obviously, we're all up to speed with that side of things. The Shaft Shakara stuff is still a bit of a mystery for Bill and Elena, which is why we're kind of just going to focus on the Neogi stuff and what's happened on that side since the split, as John had mentioned.
I was so excited to let them listen. Oh man, it was killing me. It's killing me.
I was so excited to listen.
We just sat on the couch and listened to it together, and of course we had a lot of times when our jaws both dropped and looked at each other.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. It was exciting. All right.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it was super exciting.
You listened to the Mia experience, correct?
Yes.
Most of the jaw dropping was things Mia said.
Well, and the thing that happened with Falzarin.
And the big reveal. Okay.
Let's face it, Falzarin being taken over by something is not
Nothing
something that we weren't expecting.
That's old hat.
Oh, it's not the first time. Probably won't be the last.
Again, I joked about being suspicious like all the time, and then it just really smacked me in the face when it happened. There would have been beeps in that part, maybe, if I would have thought it through.
The problem is I've been too much of a trustworthy partner for so many years that you couldn't believe that I would possibly lie right through my teeth, straight face.
Lied so well.
You did a really good job of that. Like an expert liar, really.
It happened, and I was pissed and confused and hurt and betrayed. But then I also was like, wow, what a great experience for the listener. You know, you just gotta it was for you guys.
And as you said, like the Mia experience is not what the listener got. The listener had all the info up front, so they knew the whole time that Falzarin was actually Kachlach.
But then hearing my reaction still, I don't know. I still think it's cool
your
when
reaction
the listeners when the listeners in the know. It's always fun.
Yeah.
But Mia has officially been abandoned by everybody and was all alone. And Falzarin was like, "You were all alone. You're now not all alone." And I was like, ah.
I sincerely believe that Mia loves Samuel Cultus.
Oh,
is in love with him.
Yeah.
There is something going on there.
He's just so rugged.
He's
and
the
handsome.
only person that hasn't lied and betrayed me.
That you know of. Wait a second. I haven't lied.
Neither has Falzarin.
Okay, Isabella's. Okay.
Notice I didn't say betray.
Betray. I mean, stealing the eyes.
I'm sorry that Falzarin's body got inhabited by an evil god. Come on.
It's Mia's fault. When she, first of all, didn't leave a spell slot for Revivify, second of all, called out to Thuft called out for anyone to help, and Thuft, I gave Thuft the go-ahead, sort of. I think Shaft or others might have said, sure, whatever, I don't care, but...
I think Shaft was more like, yes, do it.
I said,
help
do
them.
it, damn the consequences.
Yeah.
We'll worry about that
and
later.
I feel like I started that. If I wouldn't have been can anyone do anything? Would Shaft have been hey, Thuft, do something? Probably not.
No, I'll let you take all the blame.
Okay. Accurate.
Look, all I'm saying is, I don't think Falzarin has outright lied to Mia. Not that I can recall.
Okay, so like this whole plan for like Mia and Falzarin to go off and like look at this second body and all this stuff is like all a ruse to get Mia alone with Falzarin so that Kay can like entrap me or something. Or like inhabit me, right? Yeah.
Mia was the next target.
Like I could kind of like put that together after everything happened, like, oh. So then we're in the kitchen like after recording and I was like, so where the heck is the second body? Bill's like, there is no second body. I'm like, oh.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
There's no second body, I guess. That was all a ruse.
No. So John and Emily, you had the Mia experience, meaning you didn't listen to any of the solo Falzarin stuff at all, right? You haven't gone back to listen to it.
We
right?
did listen to some of that.
We went through and listened Mia experience first, and then went back.
Okay,
to Falzarin.
You really gave it.
The second body in quotations was a conversation that Kay had with Thup the Younger.
Oh, we skipped that part, I guess.
What can we? Yeah, it was in one of those parts pretty close to where the split happened, where the party split happened.
Can you imagine if Kay
had gotten?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think Bill and I both through the whole time, like, it was really cool to be able to do, and I had a lot of fun recording session 178 Judgment with Bill when he was in the astral plane and in the city and stuff. I love one of my favorite episodes to date. Like, that was so fun.
I agree, actually.
But I know we both had a lot of reservations about how Elena would feel. Not Mia, obviously, but how Elena would feel.
Obviously, we don't care about what Mia would feel.
No, I mean, we care about you as the player, right? Because a lot of it was a bit of a struggle just making sure we didn't deny you any agency, right, as a player. And I think we walked the line okay, right? Because Samuel's like enthrallment happened pretty near the tail end, right? Like he wasn't under Kay's control for very long before the Paladins went into the cave system, right? And basically, a enslaved Samuel pushing up this attack like immediately just to get things in motion and get in there. So I hope you still felt, Elena, like, as a player, even in hindsight, that you were still like making decisions and feeling the impact of your decisions.
I think so. I feel like nothing would change, maybe. I don't know. Well, not like nothing. I play Mia like Mia would play Mia, even if it meant she's like rushing in there to like sacrifice herself when when Samuel went in there. That's how I truly felt like if the cord got severed, like she wouldn't think twice about it. That's still where she would go or whatever. So.
'Cause she's in love.
I don't think so. I've never realized that or thought about it that way.
I don't think so. I think it's more of I think there's actually respect for once in this game.
I just feel
two characters.
Yeah, I feel like
I guess I've never heard that before.
The word respect is true. Like it's like a mutual respect that I feel like I get from him. He feel like there's like a loyalty and like a trust that I don't feel like I have with anyone else ever.
Yeah, typically when you throw all your friends under the bus to get to be his friend, then that builds a trust.
Again,
with them,
I throw
right.
you guys. I throw information about Shafter Shakara out there after you guys ditch us and leave without a word. So.
Oh, it wasn't without a word, though.
You literally didn't respond to my sending spell, and no one left me.
Well, no, I was referring to the note that was put in the wrong pocket, apparently.
Given to me.
Somebody didn't read the note. I guess Kay didn't really care to relay that information, right? No. That's why I wish Samuel was controlled by Kay earlier. That way, when Samuel found out about the stolen weapons that we weren't supposed to talk about,
he wouldn't have cared.
Then he wouldn't have cared.
Samuel's pretty much comatose now. I think you're fine, but
So there's still a standing order for arrest and death.
Sure, and I don't feel great about that. So episode 196, you will hear there's attempts to make amends with you guys. Anyways.
You remember that lie we told you about where we found the weapons on the doppelgangers?
I don't know. Sure.
Obviously not. Because when he said, "Oh, they've probably been to my house," then that would have been perfect time to go, "Oh, I don't know. We killed those doppelgangers."
Well, at the time, Mia was chained, stripped of weaponry,
I was under
under a zone of truth, being
yeah.
interrogated, right?
Well, yeah, but zone of truth doesn't mean you have to volunteer information that wasn't
Exactly.
asked.
But I'm in love with Samuel, so why would I?
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I mean, if we all admit that is the case, then I'll give him a little
It's
bit.
not. But
Well, the only other thing I had comment about my part, Shakara's part in all of it, is Shakara, when she does reply to your sending, says basically that paladins try to kill us, and Mia hears, "We killed paladins." So I was like, what? Did you not get the fact that they tried to kill us first? I was trying to be nonchalant. I was laying on the floor, acting like nothing was going on. They attacked us. Sort of.
it's very obvious the frustration that Mia has towards you guys in these episodes, so I can understand listening to them. That would be frustrating, like yelling at the, well, it's not even a screen, I guess. Whatever you're listening to, right? Because I'm only working with the information I have.
Yeah, no, I totally get why you would be betrayed, because Shakara did say she was going to stay and fight, and then things happened, and then she wasn't there to stay and fight anymore, and you're like, what the hell?
You really spent a lot of time getting Mia to trust that Shakara is loyal to this group, and Shakara isn't out for herself and really wants to protect us from Isabella and Dendar and all these things. And like, I don't know, just leaving without a trace it really hit Mia wrong.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that frustrated Mia through some of these episodes was that it seemed like the fact that the Eye of Dendar, or whatever we assume it's the Eye of Dendar that was taken, really kind of hampered us because it handicapped Samuel,
Right.
basically.
We are not sure, but we know there is some link or something.
You guys haven't heard the end of the fight, right?
We heard the Neogi god died. And poor Thufty died, too.
Neogi god died, quote unquote.
Yeah. I'm wondering about that.
Elmar, the man of many bodies.
He was in the orc. He was in the orc, right? And we're like, this body sucks. And I'm like, and then he went to the goblin, and we're like, this body's better. I'm like, how is a goblin better than an orc? Not knowing Thufty was a spell caster, spell user. So
Yeah.
that made sense then.
Yeah, so I think I can understand how Mia sort of came to the conclusions that she came to and was so frustrated with Shaft and Shakara.
I completely understand why Mia is pissed off. But then she also threw us under the bus.
I don't know that Mia views it as, like, throwing under the bus, though, when she's like, okay, crap, I guess they're out. Like, Mia is literally just trying to put all cards on the table so that we have the best chance of success. Like, that's how she views it. It's not like an actual out of spite throwing under the bus.
It's similar to what Falzarin does when he like spills way too many beans because he thinks it's going to be helpful for the task at hand, even though strategically you should probably keep a couple cards back.
But listening to it, I kept thinking to myself, why the hell doesn't Falzarin just tell her that there's a note? You know, that they're gonna come back. Now I know why. But
It's so
at the time,
frustrating.
I'm like, what the hell, Bill? You always tell everybody everything.
Right?
Like, I was frustrated when Kay didn't say anything about it, because I was like trying to navigate and like facilitate Mia's confusion, right? And then
Yeah. I think that,
yeah.
maybe the only time that Mia was, like, being particularly snarky to you guys, and it wasn't just information that, like, I'm sharing to try to succeed or whatever, is, like, when I go to send a spell and I choose to not send to Shaft. That was a little snarky, but it's the truth! You would just be like, Kay.
Yeah.
More than likely, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, Shakara has the best chance of replying, and then I was like, oh, she didn't reply. Maybe she's, like, trapped and has been, like, for a long time, Mia held out hope that you were, like, captured or, like, under duress, taken out of the camp. Like, so this whole throwing under the bus thing, I'm just debating it, is all I'm saying.
No, I mean, only specifically to the weapons, in reference to the weapons.
Yeah, it was just trying to, like,
And
put it
yeah,
all
that
out
was
there.
that was just Mia being her honest self.
Oh, yeah, we're not ripping on you for your character. Character choice
I think
is
that,
not.
like, you got to listen to a lot more in-depth character stuff, which obviously, after the fact, you're like, oh, that wasn't Falzarin playing himself.
Right.
So that makes his choices make sense, but I think Mia's choices all make sense. I hope they do.
I think they do. From my perspective, knowing all along, it seemed like It was Mia being Mia all along. Yeah.
How close were you to shackling?
So Shakara's access to portals before I knew that you guys were in Drukal, which we know doesn't have a portal or something. At least we think it doesn't, unless Mia doesn't know something again. I was pretty hesitant to shackle, unless I was like dying or something, because then I'd be leaving Falzarin. I had no reason to suspect he wasn't Falzarin. And then how do I ever get back? And with the portal system in play, potentially, which direction you went, I was like, I could be going really far away and leaving someone alone.
I think we talked about it off mic, the two of us, on a couple different occasions.
The 24 hours are up. It's not an option anymore, so...
You know, it was definitely something that me and Elena discussed off podcast.
I do think that, like, these solo sessions, it's interesting because, like, I was in the dark, but we would still have a little powwow before we recorded a lot of times and, like, sort of discuss a bit. Almost more like getting into character, I guess. I don't know. More than we do when it's the four of us. Not saying that John's like, all right, I hit record. Like usual. But it was good to like reflect on our options and like what's gone on in the world and like think it. Like I feel like I put a lot of effort into making it good to listen to. No, I got screwed over.
It's like a pretty big conclusion to like one of the big arcs of our entire campaign. So I felt the like need to make sure that I'm putting in 110% into playing Falzarin and playing Kay as well, which was fun. It was great though. I enjoyed the fact that we spent a whole lot more time off mic chatting about our theories and plans for next recording, that sort of stuff, than we typically do. It was fun.
Except for you are the bad guy. But yeah.
I mean, during those discussions, I definitely was choosing my words wisely.
He's so good at keeping a straight face, or like, I would go around the house calling him Falzogi and Nialzi and stuff like that, and he could keep a straight face. It was crazy. It was just my suspicion of him having some Neogi link because of the portal thing, right? Like going up and doing whatever I do sounded so Falzarin-like, because Falzarin doesn't know what he's doing. He just touches it and it starts
And
working.
all of a sudden the portal worked. Yeah.
But I will say, so, okay. Firstly, I do want to comment that the episode in the, it's not Purgatory. What did you call it? What was the 178 taking place?
The City of Judgment. It's in like a section of the astral plane.
Okay, so in the astral plane. That is like 100% one of my most favorite episodes. I thought it was really cool. The effects were cool.
Yeah.
The story was cool.
Yeah, you did a good job with that one, Leland.
It just like really stuck with me. And then Alamar. Okay, Leland, did you expect him to bring Alamar back? Like, what happened there?
I didn't think Alamar was going to have anything to do with 178.
Why would he care? It's so weird.
And then Bill, I mean, when and I remember the point, I wasn't trying to do this, but like when I was saying, like, you hear voices calling out, and like it wasn't meant to be Alamar's voice calling, but I think it maybe sounded like it. And then Bill was like, Alamar? I'm like, all right. Alamar's, he had to go somewhere.
It did
Alamar had to
sound
go
like it.
somewhere.
I like that Bill was like, Alamar would do it for me. And I was thinking, no, he wouldn't.
No, he would not.
You
No way
definitely
in
wouldn't.
hell would he do
You
that for
definitely
you.
wouldn't. Oh man, I was like internally chuckling when I had Falzarin say that.
I just wonder what the consequences will be to all these like deals broken. I don't know. But yeah.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
But yeah, the whole Shackles question's interesting. As much as I would think about it, like Neogi, like from the very beginning, that's Mia's story. So like it didn't make sense.
So I was banking on.
I'm hoping you took him off or something then, and that's the point, I guess, you're making. But it, like, listening back to the fight, the pre-reveal, which we talked about this a little bit off mic, Leland, Bill, and I, my reaction was split a little bit, like in the edit, right? Or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Because, okay, so the way it all went down, like obviously, one, we're in a combat, so combat is always hectic for you to figure out what your character's going to do and taking the map. And I hope that battle sounded as epic as it was supposed to. you know, it's a significant moment in all this, right? So I had given Bill like a couple of options of how Kay would get back to his body, and Bill chose one of those options. And so we were kind of like in the heat of it, back and forth, Bill deciding what Kay is going to do, right? And so none of how that happened was actually like, none of it was planned, right? It was just, we were just role playing like we would in any other scenario, just give and take and reacting to what's going on, right? Player to player, dungeon master to player, whatever. So I had said after the recording, Bill, if you want to give me a snippet of Kay saying something snarky as he leaves Falzern's body going through the web system, record me something and I'll put it in. It happened. It just so happened like it was a little clunky in how events actually played out like in the episode, because it wasn't like Kay's gone and then Falzern's back, right?
But that comment that he made where it was Kay speaking, I was like, whoa, did I not notice that? I was really not paying attention.
No. That was a post thing. Yeah, that was.
But in the play session, I remember feeling like, why is Samuel asking for Falzern's help? When Samuel went up to the big Neogi in the middle, was like holding his gauntlet out over the thing's head or whatever, that's where I was like, what is going on? Like, what am I, like, what, like, what is this? Like, that's exactly when I was like a little bit like, okay. Because I think after the reveal happened, it's like, if you pay attention, like, you maybe could have figured it out, but like it was pretty difficult to figure out, you know.
I wouldn't have figured it out.
No, there really wasn't any real breadcrumbs.
But him speaking like Kay stood out in the episode, and I was like, that did not happen. Like, I knew that, yeah.
So the way so when Falzern in quotations activated in quotations
the portal Colzern with the K.
Colzern,
yeah.
when Colzern activated the portal. So what happened there was for Kay to physically affect things within the Neogi cave system. He needs to, like, his essence, or his like soul, for lack of a term, needs to be in the system. Like, he needs to be like literally inside of this like nervous system, is how I described it to Falzern, right? So that's why like Falzern collapsed at the portal for a second, and I had Falzern make his intelligence saving throw at advantage, because Alamar was giving him tutelage in the astral plane for when and if the time comes to get back into your body, because we had seen there was the post-credit scene with Falzern and Alamar in the astral plane where they got to almost get back to Falzern's body when Shaft was slipping the note, right? The night that Shaft and Shakara left. Kind of, again, more overlap to just solidify a timeline for everything being split too, right? For the listener to just, without bonking you over the head and telling you 1 p.m. this happened, 2 p.m. this happened, right? So that's what happened. And then, of course, Falzern saved and was in, and then was lucid for like a second before getting pushed back out by Kay, which I had him do the contest. It was a contested Arcana check, and Kay beat him. So there was a possibility that Falzern could have shunted Kay out right there, depending on how the rolls went.
Wow.
Interesting.
So was Alamar in the astral plane after being saved by Kay? He was still in the astral plane until he got into the orc body?
Like Falzern's soul, yeah, they were both there. I mean, so
I didn't know if like Alamar was inside Falzern also.
No. So in the astral sea, Alamar would have went to that city of judgment, and Alamar is not a devotee of any god, so he got put in the wall, right, where Falzern pulled him out like pulling taffy out of this wall.
Yeah.
So he was left like Falzern's soul in the astral sea, and
just
kind of
drifting.
Betrayed by Kay, and just drifting
until he found the orc body and then the goblin body.
And then, and Alamar, though, having gone through the process of being judged in the city and being condemned to this, it is kind of like purgatory, really. It's what it is. He was no longer connected to his physical form, right? He didn't have that silver thread that links your disembodied spirit to your body on the material plane. Like, that's what happens if you astral project. So it's kind of what was happening with Falzern as he avoided this like condemnation, right? Because Kay, quote unquote, saved him and then just threw him, or I guess it was really Falzern's miscalculated dimension door that threw him and Alamar kind of adrift.
I was loving that Falzarin tried to get Thor to save him in Purgatory. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, you're gonna, okay, give it a try. And then I was like wondering what would happen. Nothing. I was like, all right, that seems about right. Oh man. It's
So,
hilarious.
Bill and Elena, what did you think of the final fight? Being in it, being the players in it, and being able to specifically, really, what did you enjoy being able to play kind of a dual role with Samuel's guards, or did it kind of become unnecessary, or like you were bookkeeping more so than other? Because like obviously, if I were playing them, like things could have been sped up as far as the rolling and damage, and it would have been a little more loose and a little off the cuff rather than like a PC rolling to hit, dealing their damage kind of thing. What did you each think of getting that opportunity?
I liked that more than like I found it more engaging to have more to do between my character's turn and the rest of and waiting, you know what I mean? I liked it. I could see how it might be a bit overwhelming. Like I know Falzarin's character quite well and all of his spells and that sort of thing, so it wasn't too much to juggle. But yeah, no, I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it. I did make a couple mistakes that if the listener is a keen listener, they might have picked up on, or they might have just thought of us playing them suboptimally on purpose. But I didn't realize for a couple turns that I could fire the same gauntlet twice. So I was firing the ineffective gauntlet as well as the effective gauntlet at enemies.
I think that was maybe only one turn.
Yeah.
Because once the fire, it was the fire that wasn't as effective.
Right.
And then I was using the necrotic, yeah. I agree with Bill. It's really easy in a fight to get wrapped up in like, okay, let me click and read through all my spells and like get my turn ready. And it was kind of made me more invested. Honestly, one of my first thoughts was like, dang, Shaft and Shakara aren't going to get to be a part of this conclusion. Like that's, either way, that's how I felt. I was like, it's kind of sad. But, I don't know. Me would probably be like, oh well, this was my thing anyway. And just like, I don't know, just keep fighting.
I tell you what, you did kick some butt. I mean, there were times when, darkness and then, well, none of that. And then, there's a, 2 or 3 things where you had some spells that were perfectly timed to get you back in the fight.
Mia bleeding from every
Oh, yeah.
pore.
Yes. Yeah.
That disease or whatever it was where I had to cure myself, like, I don't know. I used big spells and I encouraged Bill to, too. Like, if it was cut out, it was just like, no, just go big. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
And I was still suspecting that Kay at the end of the fight, like at the resolution of all that, still sort of escaped through the web thing somehow. It felt satisfying to kill the body. Like, obviously he can inhabit people like Samuel, but like his body must have some significance, right? Or like ability to turn the tide of things. And like if that's the only body, I don't know.
Yeah.
The knowledge that you have would help. Like, me and Falzarin haven't had much time to talk at the end of 195 to, like, sort of be like, is that it? Like, is he gone? Is there any other backup plan or body or that sort of thing?
Yeah. I think if Kay was able to somehow escape the body before it was killed by us, it's still a huge win for us. But yeah, Falzarin is a little uneasy about whether that's the last of Kay or not. But hey, maybe it's the last of Kay for Aspara, and the Neogi are going to try a different planet. Someone else's problem. The NIMBYism.
That's the perspective I've had to adopt is like, okay, well, maybe we at least rid the Neogi of Aspara, which was sort of my hope and plan.
What did, John and Emily, what did the two of you think about them getting to control the personal guard?
I liked it.
Smart for you.
Yeah, you had a lot on your plate. And, the way you were describing the volume of, creatures in this big battle, and you had a lot of it was, telling the story of all the stuff. There's no way you could possibly have managed all of it. But then when you narrowed it down a little bit, breaking it up still made a lot of sense to me.
It sounded like it was fun to be able to control more characters because then, especially like from my perspective, there's a better chance to hit since I don't roll well.
Well, and you got some tactics involved too, right? You can move the paladins over to get around Samuel. You can do things that...
I didn't like having to try to roll to hit Samuel, but it was kind of a smart thing to be like, all right, let's try to break this control. I don't know. What do you think? Leland, would have happened if we trapped them in there and never went in? Like, would they have...
Like if you had
Samuel
severed-
was under... Yeah, Samuel was under the influence. Kay gets his body, then what? There was no exit in that cave.
There wasn't. No, there wasn't. I mean, they would have been trapped in there. And again, I think I mentioned to the two of you off mic, like, before you actually went through, right? You had no idea what's on the other side, whether or not there are creatures on the other side that could tunnel them out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it turned out that there weren't. There's no Umber Hulks there. And then with the rest of the fight going on, like the Neogi forces, either I guess Kay can communicate. Well, Kay wouldn't.
I was going to say, could he communicate?
Well, using the little nervous system, I mean, you severed it, right? Like, unless he has some other means to do so, as far as you know, like you've literally cut him off.
So they'd have to dig their way out. It'd be like an extremely long thing.
Right.
If the whole battle hadn't heard from Kay because he couldn't communicate anymore, what would they do?
Well, I think it depends how the fight in the actual hub went.
I'm just wondering if it would have changed things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it would have drastically changed things. Like the fight in the central section would have obviously been much longer and would have needed to be resolved, like right then, right? And obviously, there is still a resolution to be had with it too, right? Because like it's not like you've been in that chamber for an hour. You just popped in, fought, and now you're like about to leave. Whatever's going on the outside, you don't know yet until you pop through. So like all that still needs to be resolved. But yeah, it definitely would have changed things. It also would have bought you a lot more time to figure out maybe if there was another way you wanted to deal with Kay and or Samuel. I mean, Samuel's there too. I mean, what do you think the Paladin generals would have thought? You know, you come to them saying, "We trapped Samuel and the god. Samuel's under God's control." Like, what? They're probably going to want to excavate Samuel out too, right? They're going to want to get Cultus back.
It's just crazy all the things that could have happened. But also it's crazy how much all of this was like planned from the beginning. Not from the beginning maybe, but you've had this hub and like fight and system planned for a while from what I understand.
I mean, I had I had the ideas of what the Neogi caves, and like I know how long the Neogi have been there and have been creating this, you know, central nervous system like for decades, right? They've been doing it. But also like kind of going back to like Kay wanting to take Mia, I don't know how clear it was with how Hannah stuff got resolved and how quickly she was put down and etc. But Mia has been in the interest and of the Neogi like since her first run-in with the crashed ship outside of Barrack, right? Like over a year ago. Hannah had this arrangement with the Neogi and
no way.
To get you. She was to deliver you to them, which is why she had Braun to draw you back in, like that
what?
kind of stuff.
Live Mia experience right now.
Didn't get fully uncovered just
that.
because of how things went down with Hannah, which is kind of threads left loose that don't really matter anymore because Hannah's dealt with. And now,
no way.
Potentially Neogi are dealt
That's
with.
why the jackals all ganged up on me. What?
You were the bounty originally, right?
Yeah. What?
It ended up being Braun, but it wasn't initially Braun.
Dude, did you guys suspect that? I didn't. What?
I didn't know the Neogi wanted you, and I don't know why the Neogi
Because
wanted
I'm
her.
awesome.
Well, other than that.
I mean, they want her as a slave. They want her as a powerful thrall. Is really what it boils
Oh, yeah,
down
that makes
to.
sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's my life's purpose to get rid of them. So flip me onto
Yeah.
their side.
That would be a big win. The bodies that are in all of the chambers, was that basically the web, the network? Like the brains all connected together to make the nervous system or whatever?
No. So those are literally just thralls, and I believe there was a solo with Falls, and his K was like mentally navigating through the central nervous system of the cave system, and like those sacks are they're like stasis sacks. They put the thrall, they're loading them onto ships in case they need to get out of there, and it's just a way to keep them low maintenance, kind of keep your controlled people. So they were connected to it all, right? Because it's all connected, but they weren't like driving or they weren't like a power source for anything. They were literally just like stasis tubes.
So when they got cut out of it, they were just still trapped inside their brains or something? They're still in stasis.
They weren't properly removed or disconnected from the system, and then they perished.
That would have been cool if all the brains were connected and they were forming the nervous system, though.
Super
Just
brain.
saying.
Would have been cool.
I want to know more about the super Neogi in the middle, but yeah. Like,
Well, that's the brain. That's the brain of it all.
exactly. Like, how did it get so big? How long has it been there? How, like, it's like the queen bee sort of thing?
It ate lots of cake.
A lot of cake, yeah.
I felt bad for that poor thing.
I initially wanted to take that out till I realized that it was keeping all the portals open. Like, Leland, I think, had to, like, very much, like, spell it out to me because I wanted to attack the thing.
If you had killed it, every single portal would have sealed.
I know.
Then what would you have done?
Start
Fought
digging.
till the death. Yeah.
Hope you can still shackle the hell out of there. Is what, yeah.
I guess, yeah. Denny comes in handy. I remember being like, oh, I don't need the potion of climbing, whatever. Pish posh. And then it's like, dang it, I can't climb anyway.
Yeah, there's lots of consequences from what went on in the Paladin camp, and we've seen some of them already in the Shaft and Shakara stuff. And I mean, Grimby got his captainship taken away from him.
I'm
Poor
really
Grimby.
bad about that. I do feel bad about that.
Poor Grimby.
Well, Sammy liked the information, so.
I
Well,
roll.
that does make sense because, like, Grimby and Shakara were close, and obviously Halsa and Dreg were in Shakara's family, so it would make sense to kick them out. I mean, if you can't trust Shakara's loyalty, which from the information you don't know if you can trust right now what's going on, so...
What would have changed if the tower was functioning? Would anything have changed in the hub? Would there be, like, less Neogi and bad guys at that fight? Or, like location-wise?
What it really changed was the timeline for the assault.
Because there's no front line to hold them off longer, sort of.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a shit or get off the pot situation. I mean, it was also like exacerbated with now Kay in control of it all, really. And like the obviously the plan for Kay's plan was, okay, just get all the paladins in, let them take control, quote unquote, of the hub, and then send the paladins off in every other direction to get ambushed and or taken over, and just separated, divided, and conquered and picked off throughout this cave system, while Kay is then reunited with the body to mop up. And the reason that the Kay's body is so important is because it gives Kay purchase in the material plane outside of the Neogi cave system, right?
Okay.
As otherwise he's confined within it is the limit really of his reach from the astral plane, right? And kind of where he is.
And it's in this nervous system, correct? Like his being. So if that nervous system were destroyed, where does he go?
I mean, presumably where he was when he found Falzarin, right?
Is it fun thinking of all this stuff and being the writer? Like, there's a lot to keep track of, but...
I definitely like the idea of a powerful enemy that is like weak in some regards, in that like only has a little bit of a grasp on the plane that we exist on, but is like trying to get a stronger foothold and you know, come back and to full power or a lot more power than they have.
Why did it take so long for them to build this body, or for him to get into the body, if they've been there decades and decades?
I mean, they haven't had the influence. It took them to build up the influence, right? Like that, obviously that whole system doesn't just get put up, you know, the second one of their ships lands. Like they've been in those mountains for like 75 years, right? Building up, taking over the orc tribes, spreading out further to the rest of Aspara. I mean, you know, a few of the locales where they have spread to and still are.
Yeah.
Kind of in the northern parts of Aspara.
Which is like some reflection that comes in the next episode. It's like, okay, what now? Like, the Neogi are still here in places, like, we just hunt them down, like, bounty hunter style? Or, like, what do we do?
Right. Yeah, like, where do you draw the end of the resolution, right? Like,
Right.
for whom is it resolved? And when?
Yeah, when the mad dictator shoots himself, doesn't mean all the rest of the followers don't just try to make their own little,
become leader in
A few Neogi started this all from one ship, so, like, I say, personally, Mia believes that, like, you gotta kill each one, because even if there's two, they can make more, and just... He obviously doesn't mind waiting 75 years to have a body in this plane or something, right? So...
Right.
What is time to them? I don't know.
Mia's gonna have to get like one of those vans and like put a logo on the side, Neogi Exterminator.
Yeah.
She'll go
Pest
around.
control, baby.
Yeah.
You got a pest, we're heaven blessed. Praise Thor. It's like a big hammer and lightning on it.
Oh, man. I really enjoyed the whole K arc, and it was really fun being a part of it, too. Like, I think that's not something I ever expected to happen in this campaign. So it was, initially, there was like a brief moment where I was like, it was a mix of scared
Guilt?
of having so much responsibility.
I'm just kidding.
The guilt came later.
It usually does.
Never during the act.
Yeah, I was initially pretty scared of like screwing it up because Leland essentially handed me a big portion of steering the ship that he's been building up and been set in motion for a long time now. So it's like, oh boy, it's a lot of responsibility. But I was also kind of initially sad of Falzarin dying, but it honestly didn't last long. I got
Again,
yeah.
It became very fun and very exciting to think about like what me and Leland could cook up together with Falzarin.
Well, Falzarin was there with Shaft and Shakara too till we got back to the camp.
Yeah.
Probably just like picking up on all the things that he could and figuring it out and...
Well, I mean, what would have... How differently could things be if there wasn't a party split? Like if Kay is with all four of you and Kay is like singling out
so different,
kind of one by one and successfully enthralling.
Oh yeah. I was wondering
that could have been bad.
Could have been real bad, yeah.
Listening back, the rider on the dragon, like the white dragon or whatever, turned around, flew away after Falzarin died, right? Like it was like however he controlled it, like they weren't worried anymore sort of thing. We weren't a threat because Kay was with us. I was interpreting it that way, at least.
I can't really recall the exact events that went down with that.
So when Shaft went up to listen at the tent before he went in and left the note, and I heard the end of a conversation with Thuft, was that Kay talking to Thuft about...
It was.
What was the part of the conversation? I just heard the very last thing.
I believe that was the tail end of the second body scheme that was being hatched.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're plotting for Mia. Again.
Right. So then, you had waited, you heard this, and then you hear Thufty snoring. And that was when Bill decided that Kay wanted to go and check in his point of view, or like his mental faculties were like shunted into the nervous system. And then he was looking around as you were, but he still, as you listen, he could still has some senses. He wasn't completely out of the body. So he's like watching you take the cube and put the note in and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That was great.
I didn't listen to that.
It's sort
yet.
of creepy knowing that he knew that I was there when I was listening to that. You son of a bitch.
Well, and I find it interesting now too, like, so they're scheming, and then I wake up and Falzarin's like, hey, Thuft was dreaming last night, so that's all part of the scheme. Knowing that I would tell Samuel that information and make a plan out of it or something, and then...
The second body was, again, just a way to divide and conquer.
I don't think that you guys planned on me charming Thufty.
No. I was
Definitely not.
so worried when that happened.
I was still surprised how much you said in front of Thuft. Like, he can't lie to you, but that doesn't mean he can't say stuff to other people. But it ended up like it didn't matter anyway because you said it in front of Falzarin, or Falzarin. Falzarin, so it didn't matter anyway.
We were sitting there on the couch and we were going, and the deal sort of was, we're going to go see him and then we're going to try to make peace with him and all this. And then like a minute later, like, we're going to go kill him. And I'm like, Thuft is right there. You just heard all of that. You
Yeah,
can't
but
just
then
say you're
even
gonna kill him.
Falzarin's like, to negotiate and like correcting himself. Like he just played that really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill, you did a really good job.
There was no way I was gonna find out.
You were screwed. You were just screwed.
I'm really glad it did turn out the way it did because, like Leon already touched on, both he and I were a little bit worried about how it would feel for Elena if Kay was successful in charming Mia as well. Like I think that would have been well, exactly. It'd be a crappy feeling for you as a player. Like, okay, what do you do now?
It's the same thing as you dying, though. It's not like the dice get rolled. It happens.
I don't know. I think the way Falzarin's death and all that was handled was very, very well done because there was still, I mean, I guess, yeah, there'd be a possibility of Mia being snapped out of it, but I still had a lot of agency because I was now playing the bad guy, whereas you'd be kind of just this mindless Mia who's just doing whatever she's told.
And we touched on this before. Maybe it was the last after party. Like, Leland came up with this whole Neogi god Falzarin dying thing, like, on the spot. Because, like, Thufty was with us, and Falzarin died. It could have been anyone that died, and we reached out for help and made a deal and that sort of thing. But it was like, that's good thinking. Because, like, this really spurred the story in a direction that was not intended that day, right? Or something like that, like, really impacted it in an interesting way to listen to, for sure. So, I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah. That's why, like, we'd get done playing and I would just message and be like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, you have no idea what's happening. I also really want to know what's happening with you guys.
Same.
If you're killing Izzy, that's pretty epic as well. So hopefully we can listen back to that.
I don't know that we know that.
Hopefully, yeah.
I don't know that we know that.
All right, so it's not as epic. Fine, we win.
Now, actually, I think we're more of the
Your last episode
cluster
was a lot more epic.
Yeah, a cluster of what our normal party dynamic
Can
is.
you imagine how that fight would be so much easier with the two of you guys? Oh, man.
Yeah, same on our end. We really needed you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like someone's pulling the strings, behind the screen here.
Hey, I did not
Initiate
orchestrate
the split.
I did not.
True.
I mean,
It's
I
true.
facilitated, but I did.
Choices were made. Decisions were made.
I guess maybe I did facilitate a little bit. Okay, there's a little bit of facilitation on my
I
part.
think you put the opportunities there, knowing our characters, to give us the ability to make the choices that our characters would have made.
Exactly.
I do really think that, like, it's probably hard for everyone to say, especially, I would say, under the pressures of recording and releasing this stuff. Like, we're all really staying true to our characters, and I don't think I would want it another way. Like, if Shaft is off on some other thing, or Shakara's on some other thing, like, it actually makes sense. And Mia's staying, that's what she would do. Like,
Yeah.
Right. That's what makes the
player,
emotion great,
even
right?
if the player can get emotional, and you guys can think I'm throwing under the bus, it's like, well, Mia's being Mia, and you can a little bit get over it.
No, it was
like,
totally. You were totally being you. It was just like, oh.
Next campaign, I'll have to
No,
be
I
the
loved
sneaky one, and John can be the truthful one. We'll just flip roles.
Yep.
So, I mean, this was what Mia wanted to resolve in order for the campaign to feel wrapped up, but things are still happening, I suppose. So she'll hang out, hang along for the ride.
Yeah, and I think Falzarin had decided that, like,
You're done.
this
You're
is
going back
it.
to Heraklion.
Yeah.
Well,
You're gonna go be an elder and retire.
yeah, he's starting to second guess how much he likes adventuring, but also I think he had decided that, you know, this fight or this final enemy or whatever, that was it. Like, if he was gonna die, so be it. He was throwing everything on the line. He was gonna use every spell slot he had, and he was not gonna run away, which was fun. I don't often play Falzarin like that. I play Falzarin a little bit cautiously, just because that's kind of his personality.
I think that's what made our fight so cool, though. We knew we were burning those high-level slots, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, your chain lightning was dope.
it was
Yeah.
intense.
sick.
Yeah.
And then good old wall of force to block the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Smart.
So good. Very good. The insect plague, so cool. You could just like picture this gross, slimy, oversized Neogi just getting coated with insects as they're chewing into his like dead flesh that he's made of.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, my big spells were like less exciting. It was more like greater restoration and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
But hey,
I don't know. The heal on yourself was pretty clutch because
I needed that.
I don't know how well you would have done with your boots continuing to fill up with blood.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Wet feet are awful. Don't go adventuring with
Yeah.
wet feet.
If you hadn't had a way to solve that, I think that could have ended very quickly. In
I just like
disaster.
really made sure I had a lot of like buffing and healing and stuff prepared. Obviously, before that day started, I didn't know that I was gonna have to like get Samuel out of his state or anything like that. So that was like a crazy coincidence. Like, I don't know. To have the right things prepared is nice. I was keeping that Revivify slot open as well, even though you had Death Ward cast on you. I thought about doing that too, but so I don't know. I'm excited for you guys to hear next episode too. I think you guys will be able to hear that, and I think it's kind of even more. It's a little bit more of a resolution. Mia and Falsey get to like talk and go see how the rest of the battle's going and stuff. So
It's sort of bittersweet now knowing what has happened, because we're going to be, the characters have no idea. So, we're going to be onward with thinking that you guys are just gathering up and heading up to fight the Neogi, but have no knowledge of anything. I don't know where we are timeline-wise, but...
maybe Leland will correct me, but like our last recorded session, right, 196, the timelines will sync back up. So there's next session.
Yeah, like this basically end of 195 is you're both now pretty neck and neck.
End of 195.
After 195 and into 196, Mia and Falls are ahead slightly of Shaft and Shakara.
Yeah, that's what STD is, standard time.
That's right.
Yeah. STD.
I'll
Save
say
the
the other thing I really liked about Bill being K is I finally got to dump Neogi exposition on somebody. Like he finally got like Neogi backstory.
The funny thing is, Mia's the one that wants to know and hear it. I'm like very
I know.
interested. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't anything recorded. It was more like, here is a block of text that Kay knows and that you now have to know.
I can just see Mia like hunting down every last Neogi in Aspara, offing them, and then like creating a museum and temple with the relics and like becoming the historical like what's the word, like the expert on the Neogi.
Yeah.
Start a museum up out of the spaceships and charge...
No, I'm not.
Admission?
Listen, I'm not charging admission. That's for Shaft to figure out, I guess.
You could retrofit the Arknoth here. I bet you Joel V
Oh, yeah.
would let you do that. I mean, its owner is deceased.
Put on a play of our adventure.
Oh, that would be great. That's meta.
Musical?
It's the Incorrigible Party musical within the campaign of the Incorrigible Party. Well, I'm happy how everything turned out. I mean, there are some things that I would probably have done different with how the actual K fight was set up, but it was great. I had fun playing it. I had fun editing it and listening back to it.
You did a really good job of like doing the exposition, like sentences here and there in the descriptions of like, because what we were looking at on Roll20, which I mean, I guess you could even post a picture of like the fight somewhere, but like you literally can't see anything till you zoom into 100%. That's how big this hub was, and like you couldn't. They look like specks on the dirt, and then you zoom in, and it's like Neogis and Orcans and stuff. The map was huge.
It took a while.
So he's like trying to explain all these portals and balconies and these like webs, and just the picture was incredible. And I felt like you did a good job. It felt intense listening to it.
It was a very interesting and like very cool setting for a big battle. It was fun to imagine. Even with like the visual aid that we had, I still did a lot of like, I could very easily picture like what it looked like and fill in the blanks and stuff in my mind. It was cool.
Good. I'm glad. It took a while to make. It was very large. Okay, I mean, that was succinct Is any, if anyone knows if John or Emily have any additional thoughts on what they listen? I agree though with you, John. Like, it is bittersweet now as players versus characters because
Oh yeah.
we all just want to enjoy what we're playing, even if our characters aren't there. And it was a bit of a debate whether or not, well, should you two listen? Should we just continue until like everybody's just together? It's yeah.
Well, the balance for me is going to be making the decisions now with John having knowledge. I typically go too far the other way, so it doesn't seem like I'm making a decision that could alter something else that's happening, right? Like if I decide to do something and then, okay, well, that's because he knows something else. So I'm going to just do what Shaft would do, and that's just, what it is.
We were pretty confident that the timelines are so close right now that not much would change.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm glad we listened to it, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just that it's that thing in the back of your head now, that itch that's going to be, am I making this decision because I know something or not? And I tend to, like I said, overgo the opposite direction. So I'm going to have to be careful what I do. But I have no idea what the hell is going to happen, so it could be irrelevant by far.
Right, yeah. Like, part of that equation was like, basically to date, like there's nothing there for Shakara and Shaft to actually react to, right? Like what they have no idea what's going on. There's no opportunity that they would be influenced by it. Unlike Mia's conversation in the Zone of Truth with Samuel, we were seeing the consequences of what's happening, Mia also like spouted off about every contact that, you would know in True Call kind of thing too, right? Right. So like,
did I do that?
so in my mind, it was like, okay, the two of you are the reactors now. Whereas before it was kind of the other way around, as I was recording with John and Emily first, and then Mia and Falzer, because I have to keep the timeline straight. And especially when we're sending messages back and forth, it's like, okay, I have to make sure that this person would or would not reply, and now I have to tell you, right? It's a lot, and it's really fun to juggle. I'm definitely not complaining. Like, I like it, and I really enjoy piecing everything together. I just really hope that it's like, unlike watching like a television series where you have a physical media to look at the different places you are in the timeline versus listening to a timeline kind of be jumping, because it's jumping back and forth, and also there are sections where one side is behind and then 4 episodes later they're now ahead of what we heard from the other side kind of thing. So I'm hoping it's still remaining clear and not getting ridiculously muddled.
I asked Ian about it. He said he's enjoying it.
Oh,
so
good.
there's at least one vote for what we're doing.
Like you said, I'd never do that because I think it's pretty complicated to be able to handle. I mean, you look at something like the eyes, right? Samuel gave Shakara one, and we were promised the other, so we wouldn't really have no knowledge of that having anything to do with the armor, right? Certainly didn't seem like it had anything
Well,
to do with
and
the armor.
who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know for
we don't
sure
even
that it does, but it's our working hypothesis.
Exactly, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend that started listening all the way back from the beginning, and she'll say stuff like, because she now knows that I play Mia. I think she kind of knew that from the beginning. But she'll be like, so the person who played Shaft, she'll say it in the past tense just in case you're playing someone else.
Yeah. Currently, I think I'm the only one that hasn't died.
Oh.
Yeah.
What does
true.
Mia need? Wait, what does Elena need to feel like this campaign is coming to an end? Shaft must die.
It's a possibility.
I can picture it now. The fight with Isabella goes terribly wrong. Everyone is standing before the judge in the City of Judgment.
At least Thor will come for me, right? Come on.
Yeah, we go out with a crack of lightning and Thor
Yeah.
taking Mia, and the three of you are just there.
Hey, I'm not faithless.
You're putting in the wall. You think Dandar's going to show up?
I mean, but I'm not faithless. She's not exactly able to.
Well, either you get put in the either your god takes you, you get put in the wall, or you're wandering the city like all nearly brain dead, like Falzer and Saw, waiting to get taken. So pick your poison, I guess.
Yeah.
I think Falzarin would be cozy beside Taffy Alamar.
Yeah, just find a nice spot of real estate in that wall and set up shop.
That would sort of be Alamar's hell, wouldn't it?
That's what I was just thinking.
You know, I think that Alamar is softening.
Well,
Up to
who
Falzarin.
wouldn't? He's got to suck up. Like,
So, like, change from a ice cube to a hard snowball?
Yeah, exactly. Really
It's still
warming
gonna
up.
hurt. It still hurts when it hits you, but
it's
a little
still
bit less.
It's like frozen slushy. I just really want to know, or like, I don't know that we'll ever know, but like, we owe the Neogi god we owe Kay a favor. I said no. He disappeared. Can they,
I
like,
don't
call in
remember
that
it being
favor?
written down anywhere.
Yeah, I don't. That's in the back of my
You
mind.
killed him. You killed him, though. He's dead.
Does that break the contract?
It has to. If one party dies,
yeah,
it's
I
null and
hope.
void.
Okay, but there are ways back from the astral plane we have figured out. So I'm just like, I don't know. He'll take over my Neogi museum and steal all the profits.
At the at the rate they go, you got another 70 years to figure that out. So
Right.
you'll be okay.
95-year-old Mia over there, like,
But does the Neogi god have a god? Wouldn't he just go on the wall?
Kay is the god.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He can't. Does he pray to himself?
Yeah, what happens if a god
Interesting.
dies and goes to the astral plane? They go right up to the tower and they're like, "Oh, sorry, this was an accident," and send you back, or like, what?
Yeah, he's actually back in the body. You just didn't check hard enough. I know Falzarin kicked him, but he didn't kick him very hard.
Right.
He's very good at playing dead.
He learned it from Falzarin.
Well, I hope one day we can listen to your guys' stuff and like.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to hear ours.
Oh, it's killing me.
Am I just gonna sit
Killing
there
me.
feeling bad for all the things I've said about you?
Oh, I hope so.
For ditching me. You were kidnapped all along! I knew it! You would never leave me!
Shaft is in a dungeon somewhere, chained up, being like, "Oh, come on, Mia, just shackle to me so you can rescue me. Come on." She'll come. She'll
why
come.
I
I know
chose
she
you.
will.
He's clicking his heels together. Yeah. Yeah.
There's no place like Thor. There's no place like Thor.
I'd probably shock him to death if I'd shackle. Clear.
All right, is there anything else?
We're gonna go wherever the wind blows the next few episodes, I guess.
I mean, what did we decide when this comes out? We're going to be at IPCon, right?
We're gonna be
Yeah, I
at
think so.
the
Right after, yeah.
The
And
Monday
we will-
after.
IPCon 2023, first annual.
We had so much fun at IPCon and Origins.
IPCon is so
No,
fun.
no. This comes out June 19th.
We are at IPCon right now,
it's the
you guys.
first day. It's
Yes,
currently
yeah,
the first day of
we
IPCon.
switched that. Yes.
Yes.
Hi everyone. We're at IPCon.
I will bring my speakers.
Just
and we
look
can have
over,
this just
look-
playing on
look to
loop
your left.
throughout
Look
the
to your
cabin.
left,
Yeah.
wave to a
We're
patron.
waving.
Look to your right, wave to a patron. Look straight ahead. Maybe they don't even listen, but still wave.
There will be a mandatory listen of AP57 at IPCon. Like Bill said, it's just going to be going on speakers. Like,
Yeah.
Non-listeners will be very confused, but it's fine.
well, IPCon was great.
Yeah, IPCon is going
I loved
really
it,
well.
personally.
Everyone is getting along swimmingly. The hot tub is the perfect temperature.
Pool was really nice.
I don't have
Mosquitoes can
folliculitis again.
suck in. No one's getting skin infections from the hot tub. It's fine.
I had a bad experience with a hot tub in the past, but I'm sure the hot tubs at IPCon are just lovely.
Yeah, there are two hot tubs, one for Bill and one for everyone else.
The infected.
We need another sign, Emily.
If they ain't dirty when we show up, they sure as hell will be when we leave.
Oh no.
I think I've made all the things I'm going to make for IPCon /
I
Origins.
highly doubt that.
Well, I'm finishing the making a new dragon bag for me because it's bigger than the old one. As soon as that's finished, done.
If you're listening to this now and you're going to be at Origins this week, come find us. Come say hi.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Oh, yeah.
All of us will be there.
With our
All of
matching
us.
t-shirts on, probably.
Oh, I better pack that.
Yeah, we need to pack an IP like t-shirt.
Do we own
Back
matching
IP shirt.
t-shirts?
We have different colors, I think.
I will be wearing my Team Leelander tank.
And we're getting t-shirts from the con. Hello.
Oh, that's true. First annual IP con
Inaugural?
t-shirts.
Annual.
Yeah, all those words.
Inaugural? But no, I'm sorry. I'm vetoing ever doing this again.
I was gonna say I don't know how annual.
The
was gonna
only
be.
IP con.
John and Emily are what's making this happen.
It's true.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's true.
110%.
We are transporting.
I mean, obviously,
people,
the
but-
attendees, in
Yeah.
addition. They got it.
Yeah. So if you're all listening to it, I do take bribes. If you want to have another
Let
one,
Bill
just
win a game every now and then at
give me
IPCon.
some money.
That's payment enough. He never wins.
It's fine.
He wins Star Realms almost every game.
Star Realms is like the only game I've ever been good at. But yes, as John said, we will have a little jar for bribes for John and Emily.
A few of them peppered through. It's a big place. There's going to be a few jars.
Yes.
Yeah, one per room.
Yes.
One per room.
So we know exactly who gave what.
By your nightstand.
We'll be tactful about it. It'll be frosted around the edge so people
With
can't see how
suggested
much
amounts listed on the signage.
you give.
You know, they usually at the bar they'll throw a couple bucks in there to get people to, feel guilty about it. I just feel like they might just take the money. I'll glue money to the bottom. That's what I'll do. I like it.
We'll use Canadian. It's
Yeah,
not
you
the
could
end of the
glue
world if
two
we
Yeah,
Toonies.
take
nobody
it.
will want that stuff. Yeah.
You're like, this is a toonie. What's it worth? You're like,
So what is a polar
What is
bear?
that?
a little bit more than $1. Oh.
Twice as much, in fact.
Okay, well, let's wrap this baby up.
Hi, future self at IPCon. Sorry, I had to do it. Wait, how do we?
You need to
how
say
do we-
I've
do
been
we
in
sign
John
off?
Yeah, do,
Shaft.
do we
Yes.
I
sign
was
off
gonna
on
say-
APs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
APs
Yes, we
are
do.
the only thing we shine off.
It's the only thing we sign off on, yes.
We've been waiting
We
on
shine
you.
off. All right.
He
I was
saluted.
doing a Bill pause.
Uh,
That's right. All right, I've been John and Shaft.
I've been Emily and Shakara.
I'm Elena. I throw people under the me. I play
Hammer.
Mia.
Under the hammer.
Under the hammer. I play Mia.
I've been Bill and Leland.
Wow!
That was that.
I mean, technically,
It has been a while.
you're sort of playing the
You
negative.
I've been
leave
Bill and
that in.
Cauldron.
And I'm Bill.
And I play.
Happy adventuring. This has been a Sounds of Steel production.